Prince and Princess of Wales, Catherine and William, be actually forced to do this? As ever, let me explain. Hi, good morning. Nice to see you as ever. Thank you so much for joining me. By the way, lovely comments about the recent video of Do You Still Do This? You know, the video about all the things that were sort of slowly losing. It was great to read your comments. Nice to see some of us have still got standards. Yes, what do you mean mine have slipped? Seriously, you know, it's nice that people still make the effort. And I love the fact that so many of you were saying, oh yeah, you know, I still do this. And then, you know, a lady wrote and said, I live alone and, you know, there's just me. So I'm guilty of just making cups of tea in a mug and that sort of stuff. No need to be bothered about that. We're all the same, you know, it just depends, doesn't it? I just think we all make a bit of effort if we've got some company. Then you have to think, do I have a teapot? You know, do I have a milk jug? You know, that sort of thing, don't you? But as I said, when you go somewhere posh, you're mortified if they don't treat you well, yeah. Double standards, you see. But thank you as ever, truly, for getting involved. It was lovely to get a nice debate and a bit of conversation, a bit of light relief, you know. Now, a bit of light relief over here for our latest breaking story is this, because as we now all know, one of the most famous buildings in the world is currently undergoing a 10-year renovation. That's right, Buckingham Palace, the literal home of the British monarchy. Every major event always goes back to Buckingham Palace. It's there, it's been there for the Platinum Jubilee, for coronations, for celebrations, and of course for very dark days too. I don't know about you, when I see old footage, and particularly in films and stuff, you kind of think, wow, it looked very dark, didn't it, after the war before they cleaned it up. But now, as I say, it's costing thousands, if not, you know, millions of pounds to put this dilapidated palace back on track, not just with security, but internally with light fittings, electrical fittings, everything. Still a working palace, still, you know, major things going on there as a working palace, but really no royals living there. Servants still there, but no major royals. All of this, though, could change. This is because, as we know, Prince William and the Princess of Wales, Catherine, are trying to do some elevation to highlight homelessness. But they're, you know, sort of reaching a backlash because, as we know, His Majesty the King and Queen Camilla are no fans of Buckingham Palace. Neither really was our late and wonderful monarch, Queen Elizabeth II. But you can understand that with dicky electrics and dodgy lighting and plumbing, you know, not to mention the rats. But once all that's put together, once all that's put back, I've been told by a very good source that basically Catherine and William will have to base themselves there. This is because, quite frankly, they need to be either staying there or do something with the palace. Having spent so much money on it, you know, there would be a huge public backlash. And think about this in 8 to 10 years' time, if literally it was only used as an office. There are 775 rooms inside Buckingham Palace. Something has to be done. Now, as we know, William and Catherine, you know, are very private people off camera, but they do have multiple homes. And people in this particular climate who are struggling are saying, well, you know, what can you do with it? Now, as we know, His Majesty the King thought about the idea of a museum, but that really wouldn't work on a bigger full-time basis. The bigger picture is this, and this is the internal discussion going on behind the scenes, is that, you know, at some point, Catherine and William will have to make, you know, in the future, in the fullness of time, as our late monarch said, Buckingham Palace, their #1 residence, the focal point of the British monarchy. It's what the British people want, it's what the world wants, and for once, it won't be necessarily what senior members of the British monarchy want. Now, while many people do not wish to live there, they have a bit of a D-Day decision to make. And this is really imperative now because the way that they design and put together the rooms for future use by senior members will be undertaken in the next 2 years. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.